Hey guys, it's Nicole. Welcome back to another video, and today I have a tag video for you. I always tag to do the dilemmas of a book nerd tag by Chanel. Thank you so much for the tag, Chanel. And I'll have her video linked down below. If you guys have not found her, what are you doing? Go check her out. Chanel is so awesome. And I'll also have the original video linked down below as well. So the first question for this tag is book storage. Where do you store with your books? And how do you organize them? I have all my books on bookshelves, but I'm actually just about to move, unfortunately, and a lot of my books are going to go into boxes, and they might have to be in boxes for a little while and go into storage, so I'm a little bit heartbroken by that. The second question for this tag is tracking. So how do you track your books and record what books you have bought or read? Goodreads is the number one. I've been using Goodreads for probably 7 years now. It's been a while. I was on their early days, and yeah, I find that the easiest. So write down my books in a list. I've always done that actually. I have a list of all the books I haven't read in a Word document, and I have that printed out into my bullet journal. I should probably do a list of all the books I own. It's making me want to go through my Goodreads shelves and like reorganize the whole thing. Question 3 is borrowing. Do you lend out your books to people? I used to. When I was in high school, I actually had a whole separate notebook, and I would lend books out to my friends, and I would literally record in the notebooks which friend I lended out which book to, and I would also put the date. So I had my own little mini library system going on, but I stopped doing that because a lot of the time it took people months to give books back to me, and there were also some books I just didn't get back, and I just hate that. I have multiple copies of my favorite books, so like Looking for Ella Brandy I own like 3 copies of, because I still do want to share my love of books in that way, but I just don't want to lose my books that way. Yeah. Question 4 is buying. Do you buy books, or how do you acquire them? I do buy all my books. I do most of my book buying in charity shops or op shops, as we like to call here. Or if I buy new books, I will often get them from Book Depository, or sometimes I will go to Big W. I find they're pretty affordable with prices. And yeah, that's kind of how I do it all. When it comes to audiobooks, I did have an Audible subscription account, but it's just very expensive to keep up with. I stopped, and I use mostly my library now, and then like every now and then I'll pop on Scrib. It kind of depends on my month. If it's a month where I know I'm going to have a lot of free time, then I will go on Scrib and sign up for just a month and listen to a lot of audiobooks. But like most of the time I just don't have a lot of time, so I just don't think it's worth my money. But most of the time library is great for audiobooks. Question 5 is comments. So how do you respond to the how do you read so much comments? I don't get those comments, so I don't respond. Question 6 is next book. How do you choose the next book you're going to read? Honestly, it varies. I know people either identify as a mood reader or as a like planned reader. I'm definitely a bit of both. Like there are times where I don't know what I'm in the mood for, and I will literally sit and look at my bookshelves for way too long and try and decide, and I don't know. So I like to have a small TBR each month. I usually do about 5 to 6 books depending on the month. I will read those books because I like to have a set list, but then I also like to mood read some. So I might be in the mood for an adult fantasy. I might be in the mood for a YA fantasy. I don't know, I might want to read the next book in a series. It varies. Question 7 is travel. How do you pick the books that you're going to take on holiday with you? This is actually something I've really struggled with. In the past, I would always take too many books, or I would take too few books. Like sometimes I want to take like one big huge book that I can just kind of devour, and so then I don't have a lot of books. But then there are other times where I've taken like multiple books, and there have been times where I've taken multiple books. I remember when I went to Thailand with my friends, I took quite a few books because I knew we were going to be just like by the beach or by the pool and have plenty of reading time, and then I ended up buying a whole bunch of books over there. I started reading one particular author, and then I just wanted to read all her books, and that kind of happened. So I don't know, I need to kind of work out a system for when I travel. Don't really have advice for this. I'm the worst person to ask. I literally want to take all of them. I like having options. Question 8 is annotate. Do you annotate your books? Do you highlight? Do you put notes in them? What do you do? I do annotate them. Not every single one. It kind of depends. Sometimes I'm not in the mood to annotate. Sometimes I just want to read a book and devour it. With fantasy books, when I read like Brandon Sanderson's book, I annotate a lot more thoroughly than I would like a contemporary, and I would have a lot more tabs. I love rereading series, and whenever I reread books, I will do a lot more thorough annotation as well, because I really like to theorize what's going to happen in the next book in the series. I don't actually write. I use pencil to underline things, and then I use sticky notes to write my thoughts and whatever else. There are a couple of books I have written in and I have highlighted, but it depends. Most books, no, I don't want to actually write in them. Question 9 is new or backlist books. Which do you prefer? Honestly, both. Like, I'm really excited for new releases, but there's also so many older books that I haven't read. Like, I feel like I've read a lot of the typical YA fantasy books that were really popular in like 2013, because those were the books I read at that time. But like, there are so many adult fantasy books that I want to get to that I haven't, so like those backlist books I'm really excited for. But then when it comes to like YA fantasy, I'm probably more excited about newer YA fantasy releases compared to older ones. It depends, but definitely both. I wouldn't say one or the other. The last question for this tag is sequels. Do you read sequels as they come out, or do you wait until the entire series is out and then binge read that series? I typically read them as they come out. Like, sometimes I just won't get to a series, so then the entire series will be out by the time I get to it, and I can binge read it. Because as much as I hate waiting, there's something about waiting for the book that it's just so nice to be excited for something, you know? That is all the questions for this tag. And thank you so much, Chanel, for tagging me. It was so sweet of you to think of me. I'm pre-filming this, so I'm going to have a look who has and who hasn't done this, and then I will tag them on Twitter. That's my thing. I like to do that. But I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I hope that you're enjoying whatever you're currently reading, and I will see you next time. Bye!